Okay, I just set up the camera. I'm gonna film immediately because we're gonna be doing a story time. This individual has recently tried to weasel their way back into my life, which is absolutely insane. If you're in the situation or you're afraid of being in the situation, you have to understand that some people think that compassion, that tolerance, that's only reserved for those who agree with them thought for thought. Like every single political opinion has to be the same, or else I'm gonna cancel you. We can't be friends. Okay. Let's not be friends then. Like, who cares? The thing about me is that I will forgive. I forgive. Okay, I forgive you, girl. But I will not forget. And forgiveness does not mean access back into your life. It does not mean you have to be friends again. It does not mean you have to talk again. I forgive you. But if someone is toxic, you don't need that person around. And also, I was not very close with this individual. There was another guy that I talked to very briefly who I also had to cut off because this person was insane. This person was crazy. So yeah, I was not best friends with either of these people, thank goodness, but it was still very strange. It was just so weird what happened. And I really have to talk about it because you know what? People on the far left are just as bad as people on the far right. If you're an extremist on either side, you are probably exhausting to be around, or they have to make every single conversation about politics. I hate it. So in case you don't know the story already, I'm gonna give you a bit of a summary, but I used to be on the left, and like most girls my age, I would just hear what our teachers were saying, what the other students were saying, like what I saw on TV, the media, and I believed it. And I never questioned any of it, and I never looked at the other side because the other side, they're all bigots. The moment that I really started to question things was BLM. Okay. With all of the looting, with all of the riots, all I did was I asked my friend group at the time, hey, where's this money going? I know we want to donate and I'm all for donating to a good cause as long as we know who's actually getting the money. That was seen as very problematic. I wasn't that passionate about it. I was like, okay, BLM, whatever. I'm not going to look into it. Okay, fine. We can't question anything. Now we know where the funds were going. Now we know about the mansion, blah, blah, blah. But the point is that was definitely an eye-opening experience for me. And I just was looking around and no one else was questioning it. But then also I shared that post about the, what was it called? Social Dilemma. And that's a documentary about how many of us find ourselves in echo chambers. And immediately I got these messages from people that I haven't even spoken to in a while. Oh my goodness, are you a Trump supporter now? Because I am asking questions about how even if we're on the left or on the right, we could find ourselves in echo chambers. And thinking back, I don't even think it focused a lot on politics. It was just how the technology works. And like we get recommended videos that they know we're going to react to, right? Or that they know we're going to like. So that's all I posted. And immediately, just the thought, the possibility that I did not agree on every point on the left, that was insane. When I saw that, I was like, you know what? This is a documentary about echo chambers and your reaction. That says a lot. Let's just wait till university. University is going to be so much better because we're all adults and we can have these conversations, right? Well, no, as you may know, university was not better, it was 10 times worse because we had to go through the pronoun roll call, and that's very offensive if you don't remember someone's pronouns and all this nonsense. People decorating their dorm rooms with communist posters. I mean, you know, it gets to a point I really ask myself, am I paying money to write essays about how I am oppressed as a woman, even if I don't believe so in America, right? That's not my experience. Or how I am privileged because I'm white, or I should feel white guilt. Like, those are the prompts, and I think that's ridiculous, and I'm paying money for that? No. Most people around me didn't really seem to have a problem. Some would give like a weird face, like, what did the teacher just say, right? But most, like, no one said anything. And I did find this one girl. We're going to call her Kayla. Okay? Kayla, she seemed to be different, right? I was like, oh, because we would talk and then she would say, wow, this assignment is crazy. Like, what if we wrote what the teacher, the opposite of what the teacher expects, or like we can tell what the teacher wants from us? And we would fail probably because if we're not writing about like white guilt for this assignment, like how we're so oppressed or blah, blah, blah. If it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to push, then we knew we wouldn't get a good grade. And we wanted a good grade, but we would complain about that. Oh my goodness, someone normal who sees through this nonsense, right? So we would chat a lot, and then we got closer and we started to hang out and we would get coffee. Over time, our busy schedules kind of got in the way, so we didn't see each other for like a week or so. Now, you need to know this other girl. We'll get to that. We're going to call her Alice, okay? Alice smoked a lot. You know how I feel about weed. If you want to smoke weed, okay. Like, Alice could smoke weed if she wants to smoke weed. I just personally, I hate the smell of weed. I can't handle it. If I have to be in close proximity with like the smell, I want to vomit. Like, I think that's disgusting. That's the first thing I noticed about Alice, is that she smoked constantly. Her eyes were always red. I guess like the weed made her eyes red. She was always like smoking, always smelled like weed. And she started to do other drugs as well. So this was not an individual I felt like I had a lot in common with, but Kayla wanted to talk to Alice about this assignment. So we all got together during lunch and we were talking about it. And I noticed that she's just like being kind of friendly, but a little bit uncomfortable, but this was for class. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just sit here, you know, waiting for Kayla to like leave to go hang out. So anyways, I'm sitting there and they're chatting, and then we get up and we go and we say our goodbyes, and I'm with Kayla. Kayla goes, oh, she's so annoying. She's super woke. She wants to do this assignment about like modern day feminists, and she's like always talking about how we're oppressed and the patriarchy and blah, blah, blah. And like every single point she was very extreme on. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, that sucks. But you know, when you're done with the assignment, you don't have to talk to her. So that happened. And then the next time we hang out, I noticed that she's with Alice. So I'm looking like, this assignment is over. Like, the assignment was a long time ago. Are you guys friends now? She's like, you know what? No, but she just wants to talk to me. Like, she's so annoying. She's so annoying. Trust me, I get it, because I hear the kinds of things that Alice says and I don't agree with most of it. But the great thing is that you don't have to be friends with her. You don't have to get lunch with her. You don't have to do that. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't know. I can't really say no. I'm like, why? Is straight up lying to that person's face, and they're pretending that they like them and that they want to hang out with them. What is that? Because that's a fake friend right there. So I did not like this behavior. And over time, it got worse and worse. Would finish hanging out with Alice, come to me and say, oh, Alice is so annoying. And eventually I was like, hey girl, okay, this is actually really bothering me. I don't care about her. And also, you're being fake. And she got really offended. It's really uncomfortable to say no. Like, you just don't get it. Like, whatever. You don't know her. I'm like, and I don't want to know her, and it's my right, and I don't have to be friends with her. And you don't have to be friends with her either. So either you actually enjoy her company, which is fine, but for some reason you feel like you have to tell me that you hate her, or you don't like her and you're just hanging out with her and you're being super fake with her. Unless she's telling her to her face that, oh, I hate you, which I doubt. Fast forward a little bit, it's Kayla's birthday and she invites me and Alice. She's like, hey, so I know you don't like Alice. I don't like Alice? You're the one who hates, okay. She's like, I know you don't like Alice, but can you just not like say anything offensive? Because I know like we both agree that all this woke stuff is crazy, but Alice, I mean, she's very progressive, you know, even though she's super annoying. Just don't say anything crazy at this party. Wait, what are you talking about right now? I believe that you're actually friends with Alice now because you've been hanging out and you're inviting her to your birthday, a birthday dinner, and they wanted to go for drinks and whatever. That's great. How about you guys just go? Because again, we were not besties. We did hang out periodically and we would talk about school and all these things. But I was like, you know what? How about you just go? If Alice is sitting there and doing her usual, oh, I hate white people, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, oh, that's great. No, I'm sorry. Really what it comes down to is, why do I have to censor myself? Why do I have to silence myself about my political beliefs? And then Alice can talk about all of her beliefs, and that's fine. And I can choose my friends, and I don't want to be friends with someone that I have to censor myself around, especially because she would tell me that she believes what I believe. We would talk about like Pride Month, for example, and how crazy the parades were getting because they were advertised as family friendly. And then suddenly, when we have Alice, who is always talking about this is just really important for half naked men and women to be prancing around the street like this, then I have to be quiet. You have to be quiet. And we just have to let Alice talk. What is that? So yes, politics were an issue here, but it comes down to fakeness. If you're gonna, what, are you on the right when it comes to certain groups of people and then you become a leftist when you're around other people? I hate that. Some things you can agree with on the left and on the right or whatever. But she completely changes her personality around certain people based on what she can gain out of it. She wants to be friends with Alice. She's one person. She wants to be friends with me. She's another person. If you want to be friends with Alice and you feel like I am a danger to bring to your birthday dinner because I am the only one, well, except for you, that kind of isn't really far left, then you know what? With all respect, girlie, don't feel bad. I don't have to go. Like, happy birthday. I'll get you a gift. We can hang out later. I tried to be as nice as possible and I was just talking to her about it. And she's like, I don't understand your problem. You know how it is? Like, why do we have to make people upset? It's not about making people upset. You're asking me to completely silence myself, to always censor myself, and then act like you're not behaving like a chameleon and completely changing who you are. I don't like that. If there's one thing I really dislike, hate even is fakeness. I don't hate you. I'm not sure why you do that. I hope you can learn to be yourself no matter who's around. But I hate the fakeness. So anyways, that's what I said, and she started screaming at me. Meanwhile, we are at a cafe. People are looking at Kayla, and she's looking at me. She goes, you don't understand, like, you have to come and you have to be quiet because I've been there for you. Raising her voice at this cafe, trying to fight. And she's like, you know what? I don't want you there anyway. I'm like, okay, I first of all, I'm the one that just said I don't want to go, but that's okay. You're being so inconsiderate about this, and get this. Alice goes by they, them, and you're misgendering Alice. What? Wait, okay. Alice goes by they, them. That's so great. That's so great for Alice. You just told me that. And she's like screaming at me, mind you, in the cafe. Do you want me to time travel? Do you want me to reverse the clock and say they, them? You just told me that. And she's screaming because she doesn't have a point. Wow, okay, you've started screaming. I'm done with this conversation. I don't wish to continue it because you're acting like you're insane. Who is this? And to this day, I don't know what caused her crash out because maybe Alice gave her something. I know like Alice was doing stuff. I don't know exactly what happened or why she started to raise her voice. But as I said, as soon as she started screaming like a maniac, people were looking so uncomfortable. I was like, you know what? Thank you, girlie. Have a great birthday. I gotta go. I'm not interested in this. You're crazy. So I leave. And then guess what? That night, I get a message. Hey girl, thanks for agreeing to avoid politics around Alice. I hope to see you there. Is that your apology for screaming? Like, what is that? I didn't agree to anything. That did not deserve a response because that's some like toxic manipulator, like gaslighting shit. No, I don't have the energy for again. I really want to stress this. This was not a super close friend of mine. The amount of energy that she was pouring into all of this useless drama, it was insane. I even showed my close friend and he's like, yeah, that's crazy. That's insane behavior. You should not be talking to this person. She's a lunatic. I'm like, I don't know what happened, but my guess is that Kayla was afraid of getting canceled, of getting backlash from her new friend group. She made something out of nothing. That's done with. I get a message and, hey girl, I saw you on YouTube. I'm so proud of you. Let's catch up. I take a look. Conservative in the bio. Okay, who cares? What? No, genuinely, what is that? I feel like that's really weird. This is the first time I've seen that, actually. I've seen people talk about specific issues, or they'll put certain flags or whatever, but she put conservative. That was so funny and weird. And just out of curiosity, I'm looking at her social media, and she's now making videos. Hey girl, how's Alice? I think that actually improved my skill of spotting fake people. Because there were signs looking back and people that only try to be friends with others if they can gain something out of it, right? Like I said, and they're changing their entire personality. We agreed on so many things. We would make jokes about things that very sensitive people would not find funny. So like we would bond over that and that was great. So if this was a case of her just really changing her political beliefs, fine. That's great. Like you're growing, you're changing, cool. But who are you really? If you're just pretending, you're a shapeshifter, but what do you actually believe? Like, that's the thing. Oh, and actually, I remember her posting this infographic on her Insta. And this was before the birthday party incident, right? And it was like, how to spot a bigot. How to spot a bigot. And it was like, stay silent during the BLM thing, doesn't post a black square, doesn't celebrate Pride Month. You're staying silent? Because you had a lot to say when it comes to the Pride parades and the BLM scam and all of this. You were not silent, but the things you were saying, I think whoever made that infographic, they would call you a bigot if they heard that. It depends who was now following her, because this was after she started getting closer to Alice. So I just saw that. I remember, I was like, is this not her account? If you're not posting a black square, you're a bigot? You're allowed to have that opinion. But be consistent, because why with me, you're like making fun of people that would say that. I was just thinking when I saw that message of like, oh, I saw you on YouTube, now I want to be friends again. Where was that energy when you were shape-shifting? Depends on the crowd. Now that I pop up on your feed, it's, hey girl, let's catch up. No, no, I'm so sorry. There's a reason that you struggle to make friends, right? You cannot be a different version of yourself depending on the crowd, like completely different person. No one is gonna end up really liking you. I want to acknowledge also that I know some of you, like on the main channel, subscribers especially, have actually lost best friends over politics, or family members. Like, people are cutting people off because someone voted for Trump and someone voted for Kamala. That is heartbreaking. That is next level. Moral of the story is don't be fake. Okay, be consistent. The issue then is that you don't know who you are, and you for some reason think it's appropriate to trash talk someone you're pretending to be friends with. I don't even like this Alice girl. She was actually insane on a bunch of things, but I still think that behavior is disgusting. So gross. And if you ever think, even for a second, that that same person is not talking trash about you, you're wrong. People that like to gossip like that, they do it to you too. Also, it does not make you a villain to just think, to ask questions, to look at the other side, and to change over time. That's allowed. That's okay. If your friend group is threatening to excommunicate you because of that, you don't want to be friends with those people. Please believe me, right? You will attract the right people into your life if you give yourself some time to reflect, to get rid of that toxicity, focus on yourself, grow as a human being. You will attract the right people who are willing to have conversations, even if you don't agree on every point, right? When it comes to politics, that's okay. That encourages healthy dialogue. That's amazing. It's not worth walking on eggshells, constantly having to censor yourself. What? So you can be invited to brunch or whatever you're doing. It's not worth it. It may be uncomfortable in that moment to lose a friend or to have to end that friendship yourself, but it's worth it. People that are constantly gossiping or incredibly fake or not willing to hear out the other side, they're exhausting. And that's it. You guys let me know if you've ever been in a similar situation. Comment that. Also like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.